That puts Juventus then up to 4th in the table. Let's welcome in Gab Marcotti and Matteo Bonetti into the show. Shall we, Gab? Anyone who didn't see this will think, 3-1, nice victory against a tough opponent.
No, and I think, look, we have to give credit to Sassuolo. I know that, maybe occasional Serie A watchers might have discovered Atalanta the last few years, but Roberto De Zerbi at Sassuolo has been doing this also for the last couple of seasons. And if this match is so end-to-end and so entertaining, especially in the second half, a lot of it is down to the way Sassuolo play. They are absolutely fearless. As we said at halftime, they go a man down. They're away from home against Juve. It's 1-1. Should we go? Should we defend? Should we try to nick something on the counter, make sure we don't concede anything? No. They go for the jugular, continues to make attacking changes, sends on that 18-year-old Brian O'Day for his debut away from home at Juve, and it nearly worked out for them. And I think that's a credit. That's how football should be played. And then in the end, if your opponent beats you, fair enough.
Matteo, why was the performance today from Juventus so different to that against AC Milan?
I think it's partly due to the team that they were playing against. Sassuolo's made it tricky against all of the top teams. Juventus had to shuffle in this game. There's plenty of players that came out with an injury. Weston McKennie had to leave in the first half. Chiesa got knocked around. Dybala got knocked around. So two of your starting players have to be tested tomorrow to see the extent of the injuries. But Sassuolo's done this to all the big teams. Look at the way that they've made Inter struggle through the years, what they've done to Milan. This is Sassuolo through and through. They raised their game based on the team that they're playing against. And we were talking about it on the pre-show, Dan, that they were always going to give this kind of performance to Juventus and really trouble them. And people could say, Sassuolo should have defended. They were down to 10 men. Yeah, and then concede possession to a team that has all the players that Juve have. The only way to truly scare a team like Juventus is you play them at their own game. De Zerbi's going into this one saying, you know what? I don't care who my opposition is. I'm going to play the exact same way no matter what. And he's going to live or die by his system.
Gab, who caught the eye for Juve today, if anyone?
I thought Kulusevski, obviously, we saw the chance he created for Cristiano, which Cristiano should have put away, although he scored the one that was a lot more difficult later. He added that energy. Chiesa kept fighting. I thought he was clearly unfit in the second half, but kept going. Beyond that, obviously, Frabotta, I thought did well, setting up the goal, and Danilo's long-range strike, that was a worldie. But I think more and more what you realize is there's issues. Bonucci had a terrible game. I think there's a really rough stretch for him. And I don't know if it was the Demiral partnership isn't quite the De Ligt partnership. And still in midfield, I don't know you're going to get very far with Artur and Bentancur, this version of Bentancur anyway. And you saw the difficulty once McKennie, especially once McKennie came off. I thought they really, really struggled in that area against Locatelli and Traoré and Maxime Lopez after he came on.
Matteo, what's going on with Bonucci?
He hasn't played this poorly since the first half of the season that he spent at Milan. This is not the Bonucci we know from Juventus, who was such a solid player for them for 8 of the Scudetti at least. And Gab said it may have been the partner Demiral. He's played poorly with whoever's been alongside him, whether it's been Chiellini at the start of the season or De Ligt or someone else or Danilo in the back three. It just has not been his season. And with the depth that Juventus have at that position, especially now that they're only playing 2 center backs at a time, when other players are coming back and when everyone's fully fit, is it time to start putting Bonucci on the bench? I know that Bonucci gives you something with his passing, right? His passing is his main unique characteristic, but he just keeps making mistake after mistake throughout this season. It's by far the worst campaign that I can remember from him in a Juve kit.
Arthur Bentancur, not the answer in midfield either, Matteo.
No, it's such a shame to see McKennie coming off the pitch because there's no other midfielder on Juventus with the characteristics that the American possesses. And you look at Bentancur and Arthur, and I think Rabiot gives you a little bit more, but still waiting to see so much more from Arthur. I know he's not fully fit, but is this even an excuse anymore this season where you have the congested calendar? It feels like everyone's carrying some sort of a knock or an injury. And Juve just needs so much more creativity. Ironically, the player they really need, was on the other team, and it's someone who has shades of Pirlo, and that's Manuel Locatelli, a player that Juve really are desperately needing at the moment.
Go on, Gab.
No, I was just going to say, look, I mean, there's a reason why Arthur went off the rails at Barcelona. And this Arthur for Pjanic swap, I think we should need to call this for what it is, which is essentially a financial maneuver aimed at the books. Honestly, you could put Maxim Lopez in there, and I think they'd be better off in terms of passing. He's obviously not the playmaker they need. I think Pirlo was hoping that Bentancur would be that. We've seen that sometimes last year, but he's not having a good period right now. And again, I go back to this. Until they do that, we can talk about Dybala, Morata up front, who should play there. We talk about Bonucci struggles at the back. But they're not going to be able to play a possession game until they find somebody in midfield who can dictate the tempo and who can pass and create from a deep line position. Until that happens, they're not going to be complete.
Thanks so much for watching ESPN on YouTube. And for more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for premium content and live streaming, subscribe to ESPN Plus.